The triple stroller stopped 15 feet away. Adriano Ferrante's breath caught in his throat. 3 babies. Dark curls. Roman noses. The girl had dimples that punched straight through his chest because he knew those dimples. His grandmother's face stared back at him from a 9-month-old he'd never seen before. The woman pushing the stroller turned. Nadia Okonkwo. But not the Nadia he remembered. This woman moved like she owned gravity itself. Short, natural hair. Cheekbones sharp enough to draw blood. Her gaze locked onto his across the hospital garden, and something ancient and terrible passed between them. Before we start, make sure to hit like and subscribe, and really I'm curious, where are you watching from? Drop your country name in the comments. I love seeing how far our stories travel. His mind started calculating. 18 months since Celestine. The timeline fit. The babies looked 8, maybe 9 months old. One of the boys reached up, and Adriano saw his own hand in miniature. Same fingers. Same gesture he made when thinking. His knees went weak. Nadia's lips curved into something that wasn't quite a smile. More like a promise. A reckoning. She knew he'd figured it out. The boy on the left had his father's eyes. The girl had those damn dimples. The other boy had the Ferrante jawline that every man in his family carried like a birthright. His heart slammed against his ribs. These were his children. His blood. His legacy. Being raised by the woman he'd destroyed. Would you let the person who humiliated you raise your children alone? She kept staring. That smile never wavered. Adriano's mind raced through 18 months of wreckage. The dinner at Celestine where he'd torn her apart with words designed to break bone. 3 weeks later. Drunk. His office. A woman's soft curves and emerald fabric on his floor. He'd never seen her face that night. Never cared to look. The smile widened. She knew what he was remembering. Knew the exact moment recognition would hit. The babies cooed and grabbed at air. Innocent. Perfect. Completely unaware their father was a monster who'd used their mother like she was nothing and forgot her before morning came. His pulse hammered in his ears. The girl reached for a toy hanging from the stroller. Her small hand moved exactly like his mother's used to. Genetic memory written in bone and blood. The boy's had his coloring. Dark Italian features mixed with Nadia's rich brown skin. Beautiful. Completely, devastatingly beautiful. Lorenzo stood 30 feet behind him talking to hospital administrators. His second-in-command who'd laughed that night at Celestine. Who'd watched Adriano destroy this woman and poured another drink. Nadia adjusted the stroller blanket with hands that didn't shake. Steady. Controlled. She'd won something in the 18 months since he'd seen her. Found power he tried to strip away. The babies were proof. 3 perfect, living pieces of evidence that she'd survived everything he'd thrown at her and built an empire anyway. She turned the stroller away. Started walking toward the parking lot. Adriano's feet moved before his brain caught up. Can a man outrun his own sins? Stop. His voice cracked. Nadia kept walking. Heels clicking on concrete like a countdown. We need to talk. She reached her car. Black Mercedes. New model. Money that didn't come from him. She turned slowly. We needed to talk 18 months ago, Adriano. You chose humiliation instead. Her voice was winter frost and steel. The babies squirmed. One started crying. She lifted him out with practiced ease. Kissed his forehead. The tenderness in that gesture made Adriano's stomach turn because he knew he never earned the right to receive it. Are they mine? Stupid question. He already knew. But he needed to hear it. Nadia laughed. No humor in it. Just edges. Dante, Luca, and Isabella Ferrante. I gave them your family name. Seemed only fair since you gave me nothing else. The boy in her arms. Dante. His son. Named after the poet who wrote about hell. The irony wasn't lost. Why didn't you tell me? His hands shook. She noticed. I tried. Celestine, remember? You told me I'd eaten myself into irrelevance. That no one would listen to a woman who couldn't control herself. The words hit like bullets. His own cruelty played back in surround sound. 3 weeks later I came back. Thought maybe corporate negotiation would work better than whistleblower threats. Found you drunk in your office. You didn't recognize me. Didn't ask my name. Just used me. She said it so calmly, like reciting a grocery list. But her eyes burned. Then forgot I existed before your pants were back on. What do you owe someone whose life you destroyed twice? The parking lot spun. Adriano grabbed the car for balance. That night, emerald green dress on his floor. He'd been drowning in whiskey and his father's disappointment. A woman at the bar. Soft body. He'd taken her upstairs and hated himself through every minute of it. Never looked at her face. Never wanted to. Just needed to feel something other than failure. You came back. His throat closed. I came back to save my career. You destroyed my body the same night you forgot my face. Nadia shifted Dante to her other hip. I stood in Celestine and you called me undisciplined. Said I'd eaten myself into irrelevance. Every word you chose was designed to hit where I was already wounded. My weight. My credibility. My worth. She wasn't crying. Worse. She was steady. Strong. I went home that night and wrote my resignation. Thought about swallowing every pill in my cabinet. Decided to try negotiation one more time instead. The hospital garden seemed very far away now. Just this parking lot and the truth he'd been running from. Found you passed out at your desk. You woke up. Looked through me like I was furniture. I should have left. But I thought maybe if you saw me as human. If I explained the audit trail mistakes. If I just tried harder. Her voice dropped. You pulled me into that office. I said your name. You didn't hear it. Or didn't care. And after. You rolled over and started snoring. I gathered my dress and left. Threw up in my car for 20 minutes. Could you forgive someone who didn't even remember hurting you? 2 weeks later the pregnancy test came back positive. 3 babies. Triplets. The doctor said it was rare. I said it was cosmic justice. Nadia placed Dante back in the stroller. Luca reached for her. She gave him a pacifier. Smooth. Practiced. 18 months of solo parenting written in every movement. I spent 3 months deciding whether to live. The babies saved me. Gave me a reason to survive what you'd done. She looked at him then. Really looked. I disappeared. Changed cities. Built a company from the encryption software your organization tried to bury. Made more money in a year than you've probably stolen in 5. The other babies. Isabella and Luca. His daughter. His sons. 3 humans who existed because he'd been too drunk to recognize the woman he was violating. The weight of it crushed his lungs. I named them Italian names because they're half Ferrante whether you deserve that legacy or not. Dante. Luca. Isabella. They'll know their heritage. But they'll know the truth too. She leaned against her car. Exhausted. Human. You want to know them? Her question hung in the spring air. Then you'll do exactly what I say. Every rule. Every boundary. Every single thing I tell you. Because they're mine, Adriano. I'm just deciding whether they can be partially yours. Would you trust your children with the man who broke you? The conference room smelled like leather and fear. Nadia's attorney spread papers across the table. Non-negotiable terms typed in legal precision. Public acknowledgement of paternity within 72 hours. Child support calculated at market rate, not your rate. Supervised visits twice weekly. No deviation. Adriano read each line. His hands didn't shake anymore. Something had shifted in that parking lot. You don't want my money. He looked up. Nadia sat across from him in a navy suit that cost more than most people's monthly rent. Her tech company. Built from the encryption software his organization had tried to destroy her over. I want you to see what you destroyed. Really see it. Not just acknowledge it and move on like another business transaction. She pulled out a folder. Medical records. Therapy bills. Suicide hotline call logs dated 3 days after Celestine. I want you to sit with what you did. Every word. Every moment. Every consequence. The pages felt like lead. His own cruelty documented in clinical detail. Depression. Anxiety. PTSD. All diagnosed in the weeks after he'd torn her apart. The babies come first. Always. You follow my rules or you don't see them again. Ever. Her voice never rose. Didn't need to. The power in the room had shifted permanently. Adriano signed every page without reading the rest. First visit is tomorrow. 2 p.m. My attorney will be present. Don't be late. She stood. Walked out. Left him sitting with the weight of 18 months of destruction he'd caused and never looked back to see. Can redemption be scheduled like a business meeting? Dante's hand wrapped around Adriano's finger. Tiny. Perfect. The baby's grip was surprisingly strong. They sat in a neutral room with cream walls and supervised visit protocols. Nadia watched from 6 feet away. Her attorney took notes. Lorenzo had called that morning. Boss, this is a trap. She's setting you up. Adriano had hung up on him. Didn't care anymore. The empire could burn. His father's legacy could crumble. This baby holding his finger mattered more than territory and blood, money and respect bought with fear. Luca started crying. Reached toward Adriano with both arms. The universal baby signal for pick me up. Adriano looked at Nadia. She nodded once. He lifted Luca carefully. Awkward. The baby settled against his chest. Stopped crying immediately. Just rested there, breathing in that specific baby smell that apparently rewired your entire brain chemistry. You're doing fine. Nadia's voice was softer. Still guarded. But softer. Isabella sat in her carrier staring at him with eyes too wise for 9 months. She'd been quiet the whole visit. Just watching. Calculating. The attorney checked her watch. 5 more minutes, Mr. Ferrante. 5 minutes with his children. A measured dose of fatherhood dispensed under legal supervision. Luca's hand tangled in Adriano's shirt. Dante cooed and grabbed at air. And Isabella. She kept staring. Then her mouth opened. One word. Clear as crystal. Dada. The room went silent. Nadia's breath caught. The attorney's pen stopped moving. Isabella smiled. Reached for him. When do you stop being a monster and become a father? Week 3. Adriano sat in a parenting class with 19-year-old mothers and felt ancient. The instructor demonstrated proper bottle technique. He took notes like his life depended on it. Because maybe it did. At night he attended therapy. Court-mandated at first. Then voluntary. Talking about his father. The empire built on broken people. The way he'd learned that power meant never apologizing and cruelty was just efficiency. His therapist asked what he wanted now. He said 3 names. Dante. Luca. Isabella. The capos noticed. Called emergency meetings. Boss, you're dismantling operations that took decades to build. Adriano looked at the men who'd helped him destroy lives. Then we'll build something else. He started with the protection rackets. The businesses bleeding money to the Ferrante name. Cut them loose. Paid back what was owed. His brothers called him crazy. His mother flew in from Italy. Found him at Nadia's building waiting for his supervised visit. Show me these babies, she demanded. Not asked? Nadia opened the door. Saw this 70-year-old Italian woman in Chanel and pearls. Mrs. Ferrante. Her voice was ice. I know what my son did. Let me see what came from it anyway. The old woman pushed past into the apartment. Saw the triplets in their playpen. Walked over. Picked up Isabella without asking. The baby grabbed her necklace. Bellissima. She turned to Nadia. This woman has more strength than all of us combined. Then she looked at Adriano. You fix this. Whatever it takes. That night Lorenzo called. The Castellano family knows about the kids. They're asking questions. How do you protect what you've only just learned to love? The threat came through proper channels. A message delivered to Adriano's office. Heard you have 3 new vulnerabilities. Shame if something happened. The Castellanos. Rivals for 30 years. They'd been waiting for an opening. Found it in 3 9-month-old babies and the woman raising them. Adriano's old self would have responded with violence. Burn their operations. Disappear their leadership. Salt the earth where they stood. But that man had held Dante's tiny hand. That man had heard Isabella say Dada. That man was learning what mattered. He handled it differently. Strategic. Reached out to families the Castellanos had wronged. Offered deals. Protection. Alliance. Built a coalition in 72 hours that boxed the Castellanos into irrelevance without firing a shot. Dismantled their power structure through economics and exposure. No collateral damage. No civilian casualties. Just precise, surgical removal of a threat. Nadia heard about it through her own channels. Called him. What did you do? Her voice was strange. Not quite trust. But not quite fear anymore either. I protected my children. And their mother. Silence on the line. Then. Come to the apartment. Now. He drove faster than he should have. Found her on the couch. Babies asleep in their room. You're not the man who destroyed me at Celestine. She said it like an accusation and a question. But are you the man they deserve? The man who can be in their lives without bringing your world down on them? Adriano sat across from her. Careful distance. I don't know yet. But I'm trying to become him. Can a man be reborn at 34? 6 months later. Nadia's apartment at 8 p.m. Adriano lifted Dante from the bath. Wrapped him in a towel covered in dinosaurs. The baby giggled. Pure joy. Luca waited his turn splashing in the water. Isabella already clean and in pajamas. The bedtime routine they'd built together over months of supervised visits, that slowly became unsupervised. Then welcomed. Then necessary. He carried Dante to the nursery. 3 cribs arranged in a triangle. Each baby had their spot. Their rhythm. He placed Dante down gently. Nadia appeared in the doorway with Luca. They worked in synchronized silence. The kind of teamwork built from repetition and shared purpose. Isabella reached up from her crib. Dada. She said it every night now. Still made his chest tight. He kissed her forehead. Then Lucas. Then Dante's. 3 tiny humans breathing easy in the dim light. Nadia stood beside him. Not touching. But close. They asked about you now when you're not here. She whispered it. They know you're theirs. He didn't say I love you. Wasn't about that. Probably never would be. She didn't love him. Might never. He'd destroyed too much. Taken too much. But she respected what he was becoming. Trusted him with the 3 most precious things in her world. That was more valuable than love. That was redemption measured in daily choices and midnight feedings and showing up even when it was hard. Same time Thursday? She asked. He nodded. They walked to the door together. He paused. Thank you? For letting me try. She almost smiled. Thank you for trying. He'd humiliated her. She'd humbled him. And 3 tiny humans were teaching them both what it meant to be whole. If this story touched you, hit subscribe and turn on notifications. We have more stories that inspire coming soon. Drop your thoughts in the comments and inspire others with your perspective. Sometimes the hardest journeys lead to the most beautiful destinations.